What's up, guys? Today we will be discussing the S24 Plus versus the S21 Plus. Is this worth the upgrade here? Let's go ahead and find out. The S21 Plus I've done videos on, still a very good phone to check out in the used refurbished marketplace. And one of the things that will pop out first is the design change here. Basically, they just got rid of the cutout. There's still matte finish on the back. And overall, the S24 Plus is flatter. As you can see, you kind of have a curve on the back with the S21 Plus. They both still feel really good in the hand. And overall, you know, not really too much has changed with the design. Let's see. Yeah, they're both kind of the same thickness, kind of the same height as well too. Yeah, so not too much has changed here. Alright guys, so let's talk about the overall display here. So both of these phones have a 6.7 inch display here. Now the S24 has the dynamic LTPO AMOLED display. It is 120Hz HDR10 plus. It does have a higher max brightness at 2600 nits and it's 1440p 513 for the PPI. The S21's display still is pretty decent. It's a dynamic AMOLED as well, 120Hz HDR10 plus, but this is only 1300 nits peak brightness and you can definitely notice it outside in direct sunlight. And it is a 1080p display, again at 6.7 inches, and then it is a 394 for the PPI. So overall you do have a better, display specs. The biggest thing that will stand out is really the 1440p and then also the higher max brightness. But as far as the colors and the overall screen quality, I'm really not seeing that much of a difference here, guys. Like, yeah, you can watch 1440p content on the S24 Plus, but overall that's pretty much the upgrade, which I'm not saying that's a bad upgrade. Now as far as the bezels and overall screen design here, the S21 Plus still has pretty nice bezels. It's not like it's the bezels are bad by any means. The S24 is slightly thinner, but it's really hard to kind of notice, and you would only really notice it more so at the bottom. So you can see it's a little bit thicker. So like I said, the display upgrade here is, it's decent. Let's talk about the actual specs here. So this is where you will kind of see a pretty big upgrade here. So the overall CPU is just a lot more efficient on the S24 Plus here. So we do have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. We have 256 gigs of internal storage. We also have 12 gigs of RAM on the base model. The S21 Plus, it does have the Snapdragon AAA processor, 128 gigs of internal storage, and 8 gigs of RAM. You can see the big score difference here as well too. The S21 Plus will get Android 15 as well, and the S24 Plus will get the full 7 years of MajorOS updates, so that's also something to take into consideration. Also guys, there is the circle to search on here, but that's it for the S21 Plus. The Galaxy AI features, the rest of them are not here, so that's also another reason you might consider upgrading. And then also let's look at the 3D Mark scores on here as well. So you can see we get much higher frame rates here at 13, and then we have basically we'll give it 4. And then also here you can see we do start off actually a lot hotter at 31 to 35, 25 to 30, and this is kind of like the big thing here. I would say for gamers this is a pretty good upgrade. For the most part, you get overall more efficient gaming experience, and that'll play into pretty much everything for battery life and overall FPS and stuff like that. If you're more on the casual side, then it won't really matter in my opinion, because the S21 Plus is still very fast and it's still pretty smooth. So we can check out animations, app loading time. Yeah, it still feels pretty much on par with yeah, it's not slow at all, guys. You see animations, everything still looks really, really nice on here. So yeah, so of course the S24 Plus is going to be a little bit faster, but you can see it's still smooth, it's still keeping up. Even tied it right there. Alright, so as far as the gaming experience goes, you guys can see why I said if you're more on the casual side, the S21 Plus is still pretty good. We can still play PUBG at 90 frames, and overall it's pretty smooth. This one, out of all the S21 phones, so the S21 Ultra and the regular S21. This one doesn't really get as warm. It still can get warm for playing long periods of time, but I noticed this one didn't really get that warm, and this one has the best battery life out of the whole series. So yeah, so I'm not like mad at the gaming performance or, you know, overall the heating of this chipset here. But yes, it is definitely an upgrade if you're going to be, like I said, if you consider yourself a mobile gamer, you're playing Genshin, you're playing emulators, just, you know, you're playing games for a long period of time, then this definitely is the better phone, and throughout the years it'll be the better phone, right? So you can play at the full 120 frames, and overall it's just going to be a better experience, like I said, if you are actual, you know, mobile gamer. If not, then I don't consider this to be an actual upgrade, because if you're a casual gamer, you're still getting pretty good frame rates. You can still play games. Let's go ahead and do the speaker test, and we'll start with the S21 at max volume. So definitely a speaker upgrade here. The S21 Plus doesn't sound, you know, that bad, but definitely it's lacking in the bass department compared to the S24. So I would say overall they sound pretty similar, but this just has the fuller sound. So it just overall is going to sound much better. Both of these phones have the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, which feel exactly the same. You can also use face unlock. And pretty much the same features, like I said, are here, guys, like, you know, Samsung desktop support and basically everything else. But the big difference here that you'll be missing is the Galaxy AI features, except for the circle to search. All right, so let's talk about the cameras and the overall camera experience here. So on the S21, we do have a 12 megapixel standard. We do have a 64 megapixel telephoto with 3 times hybrid zoom, but you only have it's really 1.1 optical zoom here, and then you have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It can shoot in 8K 24 actually, and then we also have a 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. The S24 Plus here has a 50 megapixel standard, 10 megapixel telephoto with 3 times optical, and then we also do have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. This can shoot in 8K 24 and 30, and then we have a 12 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60 here. You got 30 times zoom. This one also goes up to 30 times zoom. So check out these side-by-side stills and video. Let's talk about battery specs and the overall screen on time and just the overall experience. So the battery specs actually aren't too far off. This has a 4800 milliamp hour battery, the S21, and then on the S24 we actually do have a 4900 milliamp hour battery. They both can charge, or the S24 Plus charges at 45 watts. The S21 charges at 25 watts. They both have the same wireless and reverse wireless charging specs. So you can get a slightly faster charging experience on the S24 Plus here. As far as your screen on time, the S21 Plus really isn't that bad on battery life at all, in my opinion, especially as a lighter user. If you're doing heavier, periods of gaming, then you'll probably notice the S24 Plus being a lot more efficient. But for me, just like casually gaming and casually kind of, just using my phone, I noticed that the S21 Plus is still pretty decent at battery life, considering that it has, pretty decent sized battery. So be sure to let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.